a dog being roasted in a pot at the Fort Belknap Indian Reservation, Montana, 1906. Two traditional methods of water transportation in ancient Mexico and the southwestern United States. Exterior of Abe Warner's famous Cobweb Palace in San Francisco, California. Large stockpile of buffalo hides in Dodge City, Kansas, 1878. The image shows about 40,000 hides stacked up. Outlaw John Sontag was shot on September 14, 1904. He was still alive when this photo was taken. Miners' camp at the North Star and Mountaineer Mines, San Juan County, Colorado, 1875. Texas, 1905. Birth of a new town, auction of lots at the Anadarko town site, August 8, 1901. The auction is taking place at a lumberyard stand with the first temporary bank buildings and the beginnings of a hotel right alongside. Two twin buttes rise near Green River City, Wyoming, 1872. Shoshone Falls, Idaho, in 1868. Standing 64.6 meters tall with a 305-meter wide crest near present-day Twin Falls. The prosperous mining town of Gold Hill, south of Virginia City, Nevada. In an Old West bar, possibly in Wyoming, patrons make a man dance by firing their guns at his feet. 1880s, explorers and their horses advance across the hot, slippery rocks of Navajo Mountain on their way to Rainbow Bridge. Utah, 1909, wagons and carriages winding along the W-shaped road climbing Pikes Peak. Colorado, 1911. Cowboys branding calves on the Montana plains. A bustling gold rush town in Deadwood, Dakota, 1876. First water treatment station in Perry, Oklahoma, 1893. Hunters in the Four Peaks area, Browns Basin, Arizona. Two Crabtree boys, their father, the dogs, and the hunting dens they use. The family cabin is located on Long Creek at the entrance to Hell's Hip Pocket. Street view in Corinne, a typical American frontier town. Utah, 1869. Apaches delivering hay to American settlers. Arizona, 1893. Topographical survey team of the 40th parallel, led by Clarence King near Oriana, Nevada, 1867. A black and white photograph of a train crossing a tall, narrow steel bridge over a rocky gorge with steep cliffs and rugged terrain far below. A rare moment of tranquility for the lawman. Feet up, hat on his head, simply waiting for trouble to find him. The original pioneer families. A family stands outside their wooden cabin in a rocky western landscape. Gold prospectors chasing that one big lucky strike that almost never came. Lumber workers take a tense break, arguing over a game of cards. Even their moments of rest in the Old West carried a touch of drama. The commercial district of Mesquite, Dallas County, in 1890. With fewer than 150 residents, the busy wagon traffic already showed a town ready to grow far beyond its humble beginnings. The blacksmith shop at the Silver King Mine, Arizona, 1876. A stagecoach from the Old West, Dakotas, 1889. Photograph of a tally-ho party from Sioux City heading to the Dakota Hot Springs. The image shows a horse-drawn stagecoach carrying formally dressed women, children, and men. Gold prospectors in Alaska, early 20th century. A photograph from Alaska showing miners searching for gold. View of Canyon de Chelly in the Grand Canyon region of Arizona. Also known as Canyon de Chelly, the area lies within the Navajo Nation and is one of the longest continuously inhabited landscapes in North America. William Buffalo Bill Cody on horseback, 1891. Group portrait of Buffalo Bill, General Miles, Captain Frank Baldwin, and Captain Marion P. Mouse, all facing forward on horseback. Gold miners gathered at the entrance of a gold mine in the Old West of Montana. Riders on horseback climbing a mountain in Rocky Mountain National Park, Colorado. Edward S. Curtis photograph of 3 Sioux men on horseback entering the Badlands, in the territory then known as Dakota, present-day South Dakota. Wells Fargo Express Company photograph in Deadwood, South Dakota, 1890. The treasure wagon is loaded with $250,000 in gold bullion from the Homestake mine. The image shows 5 armed men with rifles riding in an open horse-drawn wagon along a rural road. Sioux warriors on horseback gathered in front of a teepee, preparing for battle. An albumin photograph from the Old West showing the Green River Valley in Wyoming and Citadel Rock, a striking rock formation rising above the plateau. The image captures the construction of a railroad bridge. A cowboy sitting beside his horse on a hillside, watching other horses in the Old West near Bonham, Texas. Cowboys taking a bath. Cattle drives typically lasted 3 months, so the cowboys would often take their first real bath at the end of the trail before riding into a cattle town to celebrate. Outlaw Ned Christie after his death. Ned Christie was no typical Old West outlaw robbing banks and trains. He was a Cherokee man whose crimes involved whiskey smuggling and possibly horse theft. His notoriety came from the fierce fight he put up against the lawmen sent to arrest him. As this photo shows, he lost that battle. He was shot dead at his heavily fortified home atop a mountain near Tahlequah in the Cherokee Nation in 1892. Dozens of riders gallop at full speed across the open plain, kicking up a thick cloud of dust. The image captures the wild chaos of the great cattle roundups and collective hunts before fences and railroads forever changed the Old West. In a stark winter landscape with bare trees and snow on the ground, one man crouches beside a makeshift tripod and basket, while another, rifle in hand, and a freshly killed deer slung across his back, watches. Deer were hunted in winter because the cold naturally preserved the meat, making it more valuable on the market. Hunters like these often spent months isolated in the mountains, selling their game and pelts to trading posts or supplying expeditions that opened routes for the coming railroads. The tripod and basket served as a simple homemade scale to weigh the catch before hauling it back. A man poses atop a towering pile of bison skulls while another stands at the base. Photographed in 1892 in Michigan, these skulls were shipped to factories in the East and ground into fertilizer, bone charcoal, and even material used to refine sugar. In front of a wooden building, two white men wearing suits and hats speak with three native leaders. One of the indigenous men wears a large feather headdress, and all are armed with modern rifles. These council photos were common in the 1880s and 1890s. They almost always took place after treaties had already been signed, and often already broken. Notice the Winchester rifles next to the traditional headdresses. Native leaders had adopted the best weapons on the market, yet still used their cultural symbols of authority during negotiations, a striking mix of tradition and forced pragmatism. Hunters pose with a grizzly bear they just killed, displayed in front of their tent. Taking down a bear like this was proof of real courage. The hide brought good money, and the story earned free drinks at the nearest saloon. A wide view of a massive Native American camp spread across the open plains. Hundreds of teepees stretch toward the horizon, with horses, wagons, and people moving about. A true tent city. Camps this large, sometimes with 1,500 to 2,000 people, only formed during special times, major buffalo hunts, or the Sundance. They were temporary cities governed by strict rules regarding spacing, hierarchy, and even tribal police who controlled horse movement to avoid trampling the lodges. Portrait of John Smith, a Chippewa man said to be 137 years old according to the caption. His face is deeply lined by time, with a penetrating gaze. He lived through the full transition from traditional native life to the modern America of the 20th century. Another large teepee camp, this one in rugged terrain cut by a ravine and stream. In the foreground, people, horses, and cattle cross the water while dozens of tents cover the slopes in the background. Water was the most valuable and hotly contested resource. Tribes followed the buffalo herds, but would stop at these river spots for weeks at a time. The photo perfectly captures the moment when the entire camp is on the move, a major logistical operation that involved taking down hundreds of teepees, loading everything onto horses, and setting up camp again on the other side before dark. A group of railroad workers, most of them black men, posing around a handcar on the tracks. After the Civil War, they formed the crews that kept the lines running by hand, powering America's westward expansion. 3 riders on the open prairie. 2 mounted men stretch a rope around a young buffalo, while the third watches from the side, with mountains in the distance. This photo was taken by John Grabel around 1890 in Dakota Territory. By then, the buffalo had been nearly exterminated, from roughly 30 million down to fewer than 1,000. Cowboys began capturing live calves, just as shown here, to build protected herds on private ranches. It was the beginning of the effort to save a species that had almost disappeared. In front of the saloon, a man on horseback poses while others stand on the porch. The signs advertise Judge Roy Bean's courtroom, Justice of the Peace, Law, west of the Pecos, where he held trials, collected fines, and even staged boxing matches right inside the bar. A sandstorm sweeps toward a small prairie town, with its windmill and houses in the foreground. Photographed in Midland, Texas, in 1894. One of the earliest images of a sandstorm that could swallow entire villages in minutes. A professional hunter poses with crossed rifles resting on massive deer antlers and revolvers hanging nearby. These over-the-top trophies were staged in studios to sell as postcards and impress audiences back east. Men play cards at a crowded saloon table. The game was Faro, the Old West favorite, where the house almost always won, and one bad bet could end in a shootout. A mixed group of Native Americans and white men posing together at a mountain camp. Many whites lived as scouts or traders married to Native women, serving as bridges between tribes and the U.S. Army. A large group of Native Americans wearing full headdresses poses with a white man in front of several teepees, a classic image of a tribal gathering or Old West show, sold as souvenirs to curious audiences back east. A young man armed with a sword and pistol poses seriously in the studio. Many like him were Civil War veterans who headed west looking for land, gold, or work as sheriffs. A crowd of workers celebrates atop the locomotives, shaking hands. This is the moment the first transcontinental railroad was completed in 1869, the official end of the open Old West. Lunchtime. In Greenwood County, Kansas, these emigrants stop for a meal beside their wagon, Pearl Hart. After pulling off one of the last stagecoach robberies in the Old West in 1899, Pearl Hart became a national sensation when she was featured in Cosmopolitan magazine. She was imprisoned at the Yuma Territorial Prison in Arizona and was released early in 1902 when the governor pardoned her for reasons that remain unknown. Olive Oatman, likely the most famous photograph of a former Native American captive, taken after her ransom was paid in 1856. This image of the Mormon woman Olive Oatman clearly shows the blue cactus tattoo her Mojave captors gave her to ensure a good life. Rangers, the first Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers may well be the most legendary lawmen in Old West history. In the years right after the Civil War, their main enemies weren't outlaws, they were the Comanches. Photographs of Texas Rangers taken before 1870 are extremely rare. This one, showing James Thomas Byrd on the left and John J. Haynes, was taken in 1868. The young Indian fighters are dressed more like Civil War guerrillas than the classic cowboy-style Rangers we usually picture.